Welcome back to some more Scholomance Academy cards. We're getting closer to the end. We have a lot of legends. This might be the most impactful batch of cards that has been dropped so far. And we're going to start off with this one, Star Student Stelina.
Yeah, and she's a 4.5/4/3 Demon Hunter legendary with Outcast. Look at 3 cards in your opponent's hand, shuffle one of them into their deck.
So you snag a card from your opponent's hand, and then you take it yourself.
So it seems that the Scholomance theme for Demon Hunter is Disruption, which used to be what Warlock did for a while.
Yes.
But this seems like a lot more proactive.
They're going a little bit more off the just straight up tempo variety and trying to do some other stuff.
I mean, I get that they don't want to necessarily do more Tempo Demon Hunter stuff because that has done really well for them so far. But also the Disruption elements seem very intrusive. Like, you had cards like Gnome Feratu and Demonic Project in Warlock that disrupted your opponent's hand a little bit. But like, most of these, I think, that we've seen for Demon Hunter would feel worse to play against than any of the Warlock ones. I recently played Demonic Project in the Tavern Brawl because I had gotten it, and my opponent actually got a better minion out of it than I did. And that happens, right? So that's why it doesn't necessarily feel as bad to play against.
With this one, you just grab a big combo piece, or just, even if you play tempo, you just remove, like, if you see a board wipe, you just remove that, even though you don't need it yourself. And sometimes you get stuff you need yourself.
Into their deck. You do
into their deck. Okay, yeah.
It basically just undraws a card for them.
Oh.
But still, it's still pretty bad.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact,
yeah.
Depending on the situation, that could be worse because maybe you don't even want.
That's actually not as bad as I thought. Actually, now that I think about it, because I misread it and might have also misread it at the same time. Thought it was your own deck. Looks actually, now I think it's fine. This is probably not as bad. This is not much worse than Gnome Feratu, I think. And it's got the Outcast tied to it, which you have to consider.
Yeah.
Outcast is one of the tougher mechanics to meet.
I just know that for Gnome Feratu, it's also like you have less control over it because this case you can pick 1 out of 3. The card is gone permanently, so that's one thing that makes Gnome Feratu worse. But also, it's just off the deck, which is a card that you don't have access to at this moment.
And Gnome Feratu has better stats for the cost, and it's the battle cry that's not tied to a condition. I think this is not even a particularly strong card.
I don't think it's necessarily strong, but it's just going to be unfun to play against. Like
for sure.
We've seen with other cards in the past, and that's why I don't like it. Next up, we've got Mage Hunter, also for Demon Hunter. This is a 3-mana 2/3 with Rush. Whenever this attacks a minion, silence it.
So I like this is basically the anti-Edwin, right? That's obviously great. This is going to shut down a couple of different cards specifically. Edwin's one of them. I like that this exists.
Biteweed.
Yeah, Biteweed, exactly. I like this exists. I think this is not really problematic. This can also be used, by the way, in different situations. You can just use it to attack like a much bigger taunt. Like, say you had a Shield of Galacon, attack it, but then you get to push damage through, right? So
yeah, exactly.
I like it. It's basically Battlecry silencing, right? Almost.
Yeah, this is arguably oftentimes better than Ironbeak Owl. As a matter of fact, this is generally better than Ironbeak Owl. If you use it,
replacement.
Yeah, if you use it to silence a taunt, then, especially if it's a big taunt, as you said, then of course you don't get the body to stick, but you also damage the taunt a little bit, so it's kind of an even trade-off almost compared to the Owl. If you silence something like the Edwin, you're also killing it and still keeping Owl stats on the board. Correct. In that case, it's way better.
Way better. I like it.
The one downside, of course, is that this can't silence around taunts, but I think this is a good card for Tempo Demon Hunter, as you said.
Yeah,
like,
I would agree.
You just talk about Tempo Demon Hunters, and
like for late push.
You can silence taunts, and like, you can just play it for tempo, you know? The opponent has a 2/2, you just kill the 2/2.
Absolutely. Yeah, whenever mages get hunted, I think that's a good thing.
Next up, we've got, oh boy, this is one of the big ones. A 4-mana 4/5 legendary named Lorekeeper Polkelt with Battle Cry. Reorder your deck from the highest cost card to the lowest cost card. So,
this is something that you'd want to play in like Big Druid maybe, because it's something where you want to probably ramp up quickly.
Yeah.
Want to use like your innervates and stuff, and just maybe this goes with the Paladin, the legendary dragon Temporus. No, it's not Temporis. It's the aspect.
Oh, Nosdormu.
Yeah, because he sets your mana crystals at 10, right?
Yeah. There's a couple of things. First of all, of course, playing this in late game guarantees that you draw your impact plays.
Mm-hmm.
It makes the draws more predictable, so you can play around them more effectively. I don't see any archetype that particularly this is broken in, but I definitely know that people will try to make it happen.
Absolutely.
Also, I think it's interesting to note that I believe that certain cost changes only occur when a card is drawn, like, say, the Giant.
Yeah.
So if you had a Molten Giant in your deck, and then not necessarily anymore, but... Or even the Mountain Giant, it's gonna be the top card in your deck.
Yeah, and then you pick it up.
And oftentimes, some of those Giants are gonna be free in the late game, so you're just drawing free 8/8s.
Exactly.
Which is also potentially a decent use for
And
this.
notably, this card, of course, would have been completely busted last year whenever Shrivala was still in Standard.
Oh
the
my
effect
god.
applied in the same way.
Because
then you would use Shrivala and Holy Wrath in the same turn, or you played this in Holy Wrath in the same turn, you'd deal a guarantee 25. So they couldn't put it in.
Dude, that's so possible in Wild. I mean, there's other silly shit in Wild, but like, ooh.
Yeah, Wild is not even... Wild is barely Hearthstone. That's barbarism.
But the thing is, if it gets too busted in Wild, they might change the interaction so that those minions are considered with a discounted cost rather than...
I guess they would, yeah. They would change Shrivala's
because that's
cost.
kind of the only way that they could, like, not make that an easy OTK. Like, I mean, you would still, I guess... No, you don't have to even reduce the Shrivala because you just play those two. Yeah, you just turn 9, draw the cards correctly. Yeah, that's unfortunate. And of course, good stats for the cost.
True. Chillwind Yeti.
Yeah.
With an upside, potentially.
Sphere of Sapiens.
That's a novelty.
A 1-mana 0/4 legendary neutral weapon.
Hey.
This is the first ever neutral non-minion card.
True.
In the entire game of Hearthstone.
True.
Isn't that crazy?
It's phenomenal. I like it.
At the start of your turn, look at your top card, that is of your deck. You could put it on the bottom and lose 1 durability. And they also have this related card here, which is just...
You get it, yeah. You get a token. It's basically like a token thing where you either pick that card or a different one. You think aggro or you think control with this? Combo.
Ooh. Combo or tempo, I think, mostly. Though I think any given archetype could make use of this. I think Highlander is what I'm thinking.
Okay. You want to get the Zephyrs and the...
Also, just generally, less consistent draws, because you don't have dupes and nothing. So, the more variety there is on the draws, more like high rolls and low rolls there are, the more likely I think you are to profit off of this. This, I don't know exactly how to judge it, but this is definitely very interesting. Notably, it only loses durability when you do put him on the bottom.
So you could keep it up.
So
I feel like that makes it more of a control card, because in aggro you might want to use other weapons too, and then you would just break this.
I mean, it depends on the class, of course, but yeah. Yeah, I can see this go really well in decks like Highlander Mage, where you don't play weapons. You have very inconsistent draws just by being a Highlander deck. And
then turn 2, you don't want your Flame Strike, so you're just like...
Yeah, this stabilizes it pretty well. You could see this... I could maybe see this in other Highlander decks, but say in Hunter, for example, you also have weapons.
Yeah.
So that makes it more difficult to use. I do think that effectively getting a chance to redraw 4 times...
Still go in Res Priest.
...is pretty good, though.
Oh yeah, we'll go in Res Priest. I think this we'll see play,
so,
and
of course,
curious to try it out.
The argument for control over aggro in this one is that in control, you can, if you draw this earlier on, you oftentimes have way too many turns where you don't do much at all to begin with. So, if you're not having a big turn anyways, you might as well just play this.
I'm looking forward to trying this out for sure.
Vectus.
The legend.
Battlecry, 5 mana 4/4. Battlecry, summon 2 1/1 whelps. Each gains a death rattle from your minions that died this game. There is the token.
The Plagued Hatchling. So,
the dragon.
So when I saw this, I wasn't exactly sure how good this is. We had some big brain in our Discord. I can say the name Sparrowhawk, come up with actually what I thought was going to be a pretty good idea. Face Hunter. Use in Face Hunter.
Yeah.
Get your leper goblin dudes.
Yeah, that would also be another argument, of course, to run Cobalt Sand Troopers because they're slightly better. Of course, traditionally this would go into something really silly like alongside something like Mechanical Whelp, or just some like huge minions out of it. Right now, I don't think there's anything in Standard that has like an incredibly big death rattle. So that's not as OP as it would have been in other times.
I can see like something like a combo Face Hunter develop where you play Terran Gorefiend and this, and you got your Leper Gnomes and your Sand Troopers and stuff. Like a burst turn thing.
Yeah, remind me, is there any like death rattles that summon something like maybe bigger than just two hyenas or something in Standard right now? Or, of course, on your side, not there's like
the 7/10 that summons a copy of itself, or the 5/10 or whatever it is.
There's
guy.
Right, there's some of. I mean, if say there was, now that I think about it, if there was, say, a slower Demon Hunter, which it seems that this is where a lot of the new cards are going, and we said it before that it's possibly viable. You get something like Coilfang Warlord, or in other class, you also got cards like Enhanced Dreadlord that would very well just.
Yeah.
There's definitely cards that...
I'm forcibly reminded of Cindergosa with this one.
Oh, that's an interesting comparison. Cindergosa doesn't summon. Well, I mean, okay, yeah, right, this doesn't necessarily summon even. But, yeah.
What do you mean?
I was thinking, I was just thinking about, like, making the Death Rattles be summon something.
Yeah, exactly.
And, of course, if you played, like, 2 Weaponized Pinatas, then this will basically be Cindergosa, but...
Similar idea. People will find some ways to use this, but I'm not sure how strong it will be right off the bat.
Raz Frost Whisper is a 5-mana 3/6 Shaman Mage legendary minion. At the end of your turn, deal 1 damage to all enemies, improved by spell damage.
Notably, that's also hero.
Yes. It's like a one-sided Hellfire, a Schwelp, a Hail of...
Man.
Fellfire?
They really want to do the spell damage thing, huh? I think it's a slippery slope. I don't like the spell damage improvement stuff anyway, but making it strong, I'm just kind of scared of that. I don't really want to see it.
I'm fascinated because spell damage always seemed like a cool idea when I started playing. I was like, oh yeah, spell damage, I can make my spells better, but it's like, it's never been that good.
Yes, exactly.
You have cards that incidentally have it, like you play Thanos over Loot Hoarder or something, but you don't really play cards because of the spell damage. Like Azure Drake has been Hall of Famed.
Yeah.
That would have been one of the other ones that you might have seen some play and actually have it, but
apparently they really want to see it here. I don't know about it. Might be used in some more aggressive ideas.
Yeah, also they of course was noted that they have been printing good spell damage cards as well. There is the one that incrementally gains it whenever you play a spell. Yeah. So maybe there's some ideas here. Yeah, notably this goes face, and this could also just be a good board clear. Like, assuming you can get like this to be like 4 or 5 points of damage, you're just clearing the board over and over. Exactly. It's kind of like the old Venomizer and Missile Launcher combo.
That, okay, yeah.
But it's one side, right? You can still build your own.
Exactly.
And if you have the board locked down, there's like no way to beat you at that point. Well, unless you remove this. Yeah. And not last, but last on this page, because Blizzard is not capable of keeping their stuff up to date, is the Groundskeeper, which is a 4-mana 4/5 Druid Shaman minion. Taunt, which already is decent. Battle Cry, if you're holding a spell that costs 5 or more, restore 5 health.
I don't know why I think of Gloomstack with this all the time. I guess it seems kind of similar in some ways, but it's a Chillwind Yeti with Taunt, which makes it a better Chillwind Yeti. And in Druid and Shaman, especially the control varieties, you likely will be holding expensive spells.
We've had that mechanic before, right? Spells that cost 5 or more.
Yeah.
Or specifically holding spells that cost 5 or more. This, of course, goes potentially well with varieties of Token Druid. That being said, the Spell Druid variety not as much because it's a minion.
The token? You wanted the token? It seems like a very very, very strong control card, though.
Yeah.
It's a taunt, like mid-range.
But, you know, sometimes your tokens don't go very fast, and then you have like a Force 8 on hand, and you have to live. You have Force of Nature, Force 8. I mean,
that's not the type of card you put in, right?
Gardenom is the one that had the 5 or more.
Gardenom, that's an aggressive one, right? If like
yeah, no, I was just thinking about. Yeah, I guess control decks mostly. Control Shaman, which is some control Shaman ideas. Though, do they play a lot of big spells?
Well, you could play.
I guess Eye of the Storm.
Definitely could play big spells.
Because you don't play Bloodlust in there, for example. And that's what I was thinking about. Like,
Druid has gotten a lot of ramp. They might, think about going like big Druid.
yeah, because Druid has a lot of has a decent amount of big spells. I don't think Shaman as much. We'll see whether this finds play.
Looks like a strong card, though. If something develops, it'll be there.
Yeah, I mean, listen, right? 4 mana, 4/5 taunt with the potential upside in the battle cry. You can't really hate on it. Definitely good arena card.
Right. We're switching off to another website for the rest of the cards.
Yes, we're going to hearthstone.com because
link in the description.
At least they are up to date.
Exactly. We got a big name.
Yeah, we got Turalyon
big name.
as an 8 mana, 3/12 legendary paladin minion with Rush.
Yeah.
Whenever this attacks a minion, you know what, I'm going to put this in the center of the screen. Set that minion's attack and health to 3.
So it kills that minion, too.
And takes 3 damage.
And takes 3 damage.
Assuming that his stats were changed, because you could potentially, like, your opponent could reduce his attack to 1 or something, and then it wouldn't guaranteed happen. But basically, he can, assuming he doesn't get attacked otherwise, proactively kill exactly 4 minions, no matter their stats.
Damn.
It's kind of like Poisonous, but better.
Yeah.
Well, situationally better. Because presumably the minion you're killing with Poisonous has more than 3 attack, so this takes less damage.
Exactly. Okay.
And he has Rush, so...
Let's do it. I think it's going to be pretty decent.
I mean, at the very least, right, this is a Destroy effect, which sticks a pretty solid minion.
Does it go in Pure Pally, maybe? It's definitely like, it's not an aggressive thing, like you won't see this in Murlocs or something, but maybe Pure Libram, something where you're more value oriented.
Yeah, especially considering that Pure has had some dubious inclusions in their decks just because they had to find more power to put in.
And why not
this is very solid.
It's very strong, exactly.
Next up, we have Gift of Luminance, a 3 mana, what is this, Paladin Priest spell?
Yep.
Yeah. Give a minion Divine Shield, then summon a 1/1 copy of it.
Speaking of Turalyon.
Also, I believe, based on how this is worded, that the copy also gets Divine Shield. Because you first give a Divine Shield, then you summon the copy. Instant Thought, of course, this goes well with Death Rattles.
Yeah.
Because Death Rattle minions are the best ones to dupe. And yes, active effects, like Turalyon. Naturally, of course, the copy would have Rush and Divine Shield, which is already pretty good, but it's not going to kill something. That would then be more comparable actually to the Mage Slayer, for example, where it effectively kind of silences, at least in terms of stats, the enemy minion. Somewhat. It's like Polymorph War, almost.
Yeah. Polymorph Iron for Grizzly.
That being said, of course, giving a minion Divine Shield is solid. Especially because you can like take a trade immediately and potentially trade up a lot. It's definitely not worth 3 mana.
We're gonna see
summoning
this.
A copy.
Yeah, I feel like we're gonna see this in Raz Priest with like cartoon defenders and stuff.
Also, is it just me or does this remind of the what was it, the Unidentified Elixir a little bit?
Yeah, maybe.
Where you also had one that's gave +2/+2 and summoned a copy. Yeah. Just summon a copy.
We'll see if people find ways to put it in. It seems kind of average, but could be strong in the right situation.
That's exactly it. And I think if there was, for example, he talked about Death Rattles and Priest in previous episode of this as well. If there was a Death Rattle Priest, then this would go in there probably.
Absolutely.
Adorable Infestation is a 1 mana Hunter Druid spell that gives a minion +1/+1, summon a 1/1 cub, and add a cub to your hand.
That seems like pretty good value for 1 mana.
I believe... I've seen the token. I believe they're beasts.
That makes sense, yeah.
Which is important for mostly Hunter, but it is important.
So you get a couple beasts, one on board, one on hand, one just 1/1s, and you get to buff the board too. I think that's, even without the hand part, that's already pretty good.
I just want to say, dude, like, look at it, right? 1 mana, 2/2 with partial charge, potentially. Of course, a little situational because you have to have a minion, but that's not that big a deal.
Yeah, still.
And then you also get another card added to your hand, so it's this is like almost Firefly-esque, but better.
I think this could be.
And Firefly was pretty popular.
Just both of those classes don't seem to, at the moment at least, don't seem to really need this type of card, though it's a very good value.
I mean, this could easily go into Spell Druid.
Maybe.
You want to go wide, you want to buff. I mean, of course, the buffing individual minions is not exactly what you want, but you do get a second minion. So you play this before you play Power of the Wild.
I have to think about what you take out, though, because you can only have such an array of small spells. So.
That is true. But it is relatively small, so you can play it early on, which is important because you're lacking some of that in the Spell Druid. I know sometimes you just don't get started. Now, naturally, of course, you want to get started with the ramp, so... But this could potentially go in there. And then I could see this in some variety of hunters. If there was a traditional mid-range hunter, this could easily go in there. Maybe Highlander, because there's always so many flexible spots that you could probably put it in if you like it.
Maybe.
But I don't think it's going to be great.
Yeah, it's a good value card, but I think it's well designed because it's not like this fits like a puzzle piece somewhere and it's gonna make it over the top. Alright, let's move on here.
Unknown Name is a 6-mana Druid Shaman spell, which says... I believe also this is not the official version it says here, so this might not be the exact name of the card.
I mean,
it says unknown name,
it's of course not the name of the card. The card was revealed in like Chinese or something. We don't.
You don't know why they didn't like put an approximation. I just read this and I was like, wait, unknown name. That's a weird name. Yeah, unknown name. We don't know the name of the card. The effect is choose one, summon 4 2/2 treant totems, 4 overload 2 and give them rush.
Talk about confusingly worded cards. Blizzard has gotten so scared of using keywords on account of like being thinking to confuse stuff. This is maybe one of the most complexly worded cards we've seen.
Granted, not the official English version of the card. Maybe the wording is slightly better. Maybe it just doesn't translate well. But I don't see how it would be much different.
But speaking of
pre-nerf Force of Nature.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I thought.
Now, of course, the very important thing, and by the way, I think they could have under Force of Nature if they felt like it. The Force of Nature creates, of course, a charge.
Yeah.
Which is very important because it was used like Force of Nature, double Savage Roar, and you're just hitting a bunch of damage.
Remind me, wasn't this originally revealed with charge or believed to be charge?
I've only seen it with Rush.
Okay. Because there's some confusion around this card, so we'll see how this turns out. If it's Rush, of course, it's probably fine. Still, it's pretty good, and Spell Druid, you know. I mean... not Spell Druid, sorry, Quest Druid. We'll like it.
If this were... Oh, yeah. Wait. How would this work with Quest?
Well, you get both effects, right?
Yeah, but the second effect is just affecting the first effect.
Well, yeah, you get 7 treant totems, I would assume.
Because I don't know.
I would assume it would, yeah. We'll see how it's going to be worded in the end.
The interaction, if you had both, would just be the second effect, which is not that great. Of course, so yeah, a big board establishing move. You can get for 6 mana. You can get 4 2/2s with rush that are considered both treants and totems, which is important because that means that this works with all the totem interaction stuff, including the one that gives them extra attack in Shaman, and it presumably also interacts with all the treant synergy, which there isn't that
all the treant synergy
much of currently.
No, but it's tokens for token druid.
I mean, also there is treant synergy definitely in Wild, if nothing else. You got Dexter the Dendrologist, aka Dendrologist.
Yeah.
You've got the one that turns with the 5/5 Ancients, which will move one.
But that was never good, and it probably won't be.
Yeah, no.
And it's also wild. But yeah, we'll have to see what this card actually turns out to really be and how it works. It's one of the more dubious revelations we've seen so far.
I feel like without the Overload, you get still
potential.
You're still getting total 8/8 stats for 6, which is decent.
Exactly.
It's wide, so... I mean, again, it's somewhere between Force of Nature and Force 8.
Yeah.
And also with the Rush,
it's pretty good.
Another one that we don't know the name of is a 1-mana 1/3. I believe one of the suggested names was like Research Assistant or something. It's a 1-mana 1/3 with spell damage for Mage.
Spell damage Mage. They should keep that name. So we're gonna just keep printing overpowered 1-drops. For no particular reason.
I mean, this is one of those that, of course, goes very well with Ral, for example.
Yeah.
It was Raz, right? That's what it was. Yeah, I mean, it's fine.
Why does it have to be a 1/3 though? Just make it a 1/2. Like this is gonna be a card where when you you have it and you play it on 1, your win rate goes to like 70% in those games.
We've had 2-2s, we've had a 1-4 now, we've had 1-3s with upside before.
But the effect, it's an effect that helps the card basically like defend itself or stick itself in the same way, right? I think this is better than the 1-4 with.
Yeah, I mean, I do think this is better than the 1-4, but I also think it's worse than Oshra Cleric, which used to be in the game for the last
No,
time.
I don't think so, because this is more proactive. I think this is better than Cleric, because when you stick it on 1, it 99% of the cases just can't be removed the same turn, and then you already have empowered defenses to keep it stuck. And this is a cascading card. This is like a Kaliseth in the Kaliseth type of effect, right? You get it, and you get it on the right turn. You play it, your win rate, like you win 3/4 of your games where that happens. Not necessarily types of cards that I like a lot, but it'll depend on how good the deck will, of course, turn out to be.
Yeah, I don't necessarily hate it, but you will see. It depends really on the archetype. We've got another legendary, which is a 5-mana 2/1.
Yeah.
Trust me, this will get better. Mage Rogue legendary, Jandis Barov, Battlecry. Summon 2 random 5-cost minions. Secretly, pick one that dies when it takes damage.
Dude, I don't know what to think about some of these cards. Like, I feel like they're just trying too hard sometimes to get like class identity into those dual class cards, and like trying to make weird stuff happen. I've been wondering, by the way, why none of the Barov characters were printed so far, and I'm hoping there's more of them to come up. But in effect for the card, I don't know what to think about this. This seems just weird.
I would say that getting a random 5-drop is weaker than just playing a good 5-drop. You're getting 2/1 stats to compensate for that. You get a second one that is very easy to kill. Your opponent doesn't know which one is easy to kill.
Yeah.
Of course, you play like Arcane Explosion against this, purely exemplary,
Yeah.
and all of a sudden, like, you're left with a random 5-drop that has taken 1 point of damage, right?
I guess what you'll do is, like, if you get a taunt, you pick then the other one, so it makes it harder to be attacked and
Yeah.
reduce the value of it. I don't know if this is going to see play. Honestly, it seems like far out of the realm of most things we've seen, and if it will, that might be quite annoying. But
I don't think this is gonna be like a mainstream card. Obviously, someone's gonna play, try to make it work somehow.
Yeah,
but this is not gonna be
too much randomness is too much weirdness.
But it's kind of creative. At least, I guess.
It's a flavorful card. I mean, at least that's what they do. Yeah.
And last, but certainly not least, for today,
last one.
we've got Keymaster Alabaster, a 7-mana 6/8 neutral legendary minion. Whenever your opponent draws a card, add a copy to your hand that costs 1.
Seems like the kind of card that like it'll kind of the question will be, is it worth to run a deck somehow that combos out this and glide in the same turn as like its main thing? And if so, then it will be probably not very fun to play against, and if not, this is probably not particularly strong. Just as a legend, just to drop down. In control, it's too much stats for something, too much mana for something that doesn't have taunt. And aggro is probably too slow, and you don't necessarily want your opponent's cards anyway.
I think that this is a bit of a dicey card, that like, as in dice-like, in that it's a bit of a luck shot what you get. Notably, of course, Cold Oracle has been Hall of Fame like way back when, because that would have been crazy.
Yeah. Glide is the big one, of course, you want to think about, but that's a 4-mana card, so you'd have to like find a way to play them both at the same turn.
Yeah.
Glide has to be outcast. I don't know what to think about this.
I don't think Glide is necessarily going to be the thing to worry about with this, because there's too many hoops to jump through to get it.
But what else do you want to really worry about it with it? Because just playing this ending turn, probably not good in any deck.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying, right? I don't think this is a particularly broken card. I do think that there is probably situations in which you can try to make your opponent draw more, one way or the other. Though I don't think there's that many draw effects that make your opponent draw either.
Oh, everybody craft Nat Pagels now.
Oh.
For sure. Right?
Wait. Nat Pagel draws you cards.
Nat.
You're thinking of Nat the Darkfisher, which is not in standard
the
anymore.
corrupted version. Right. More corrupted anyway.
Of course, in Wild you could play this with something like
just Cold Light.
Cold Light, but
exactly.
Yeah.
I don't know about this one, man.
The thing is,
there needs to be something with it. If it's not glide, I don't see it.
If you get more than one card off of this, it might be worth it, but otherwise, probably not.
Yeah.
And also, only if you're facing like a controller combo deck, probably not against aggro, because oh my god, I got like a 2-drop for 1 mana. The value.
Congratulations. So, we've seen a lot of legends today. There's a lot of legends that came out. Let us know your opinions on those. Some of them, I think, a bit out there. Like, they're really trying to push their limits here. Like, it's a flavor expansion. This is a flavor expansion, no doubt. How much of a mechanics or meta expansion it will be left to be seen. We've gotten a lot of the very strong ones, so it's not a problem to have one of those. But it's gonna definitely be interesting. There's more cards to come up, obviously, and the expansion is going to release next week already, so we kind of powered through all this. So should be a good time. But until we get there, let us know what you think about these ones so far. We'll be back in a couple days, maybe tomorrow, maybe the day after, with another report. As new cards drop, we'll be reviewing every single one of them. So your favorite archetype so far? Maybe did we miss a big interaction with some of these where there's like a broken trig? Let us know. And drop a like on the video if you did enjoy it. And we're going to see you in the next one. JJ.
That's it.
That's it.